Hello YouTube, it's me, Record Warrior, and I am recording my fucking uh I'm recording my thoughts on this game, Metroid Prime for Beyond. I have some major problems with this game. I think it's a good game. It's short. It's really I beat this almost 100% in 13 hours, and that's kind of insane. Um First, my major issue is I'm gonna include some spoilers in this. My main issue is this, guys. Right? Okay. I do not like any of these guys. I never. He's floating. No, he's not. I don't like almost any of these people. Okay. Mackenzie is fine. This guy up deck here is fine, but he's your first guy you save, and then you recruit him. The main thing, I don't mind his personality and his quirkiness, and when he drives you and you talk to him, he's actually a relatively fine character. But the thing that makes me dislike him is when you explore the open world and just kind of drive around and try to loosely follow your instincts to just drive. He basically calls you almost every 20 to 30 minutes saying, hey, get along with the mission, do the game, do it a little faster. It feels like the game is pushing you towards the direction in case you got lost. But if you're offering an open world map, or even like a map-ish area that's open to connect the four areas you're supposed to go to, I feel like allowing the player to get lost and drive and have on their own merits to call Mackenzie to say, hey, I'm lost, what do I do? And then he points it out. If you called him and then he pointed out, I think this would be fine. But the fact that is he calls you and reminds you, Samus, the intergalactic bounty hunter, like you're famously worldwide known. Everyone here knows, respects you, and you are one of the most popular, well-known survivalist people in the universes. There is no way you're that stupid. Second thing is, I don't like the fact that you get these four shots, you get like different elements and shit, and you have to basically go from wherever the fuck you are, bring it all the way back to Mackenzie, and then he installs it, and then you have to go all the way back wherever you're doing. It's fine for like smaller stuff because you basically have to deposit stuff to get this cool white suit. Like it's an optional thing you get at the end of the game. Um, I'll get to this guy later. I'm going to talk about him last. I don't like the fact that you have to go back there. It doesn't take long at all, and it allows you to do some cool bonus stuff and lets you progress the game and make it smoother. But genuinely speaking, it slows down, or maybe like it creates breathing room in a game where I feel like Metroidvania's the point is exploration at the time. If I unlock a cool new power up, my goal is to unlock all the power-ups and then explore the areas I couldn't do later when I have all the cool main power-ups. Like when I unlock all the elemental shots and then the super missiles and the fucking power bombs and I have all the abilities, I can go explore each area. But the fact that I have to unlock the ice shot and then go back and then unlock the fire shot and then go back and then unlock the lightning shot and go back, instead of just able to unlock all of them and have the accessibility on my own, feels weird. It feels slow, and it feels wrong because I don't know why this is the only game where you've had to do this. These two characters, Armstrong and Duke, I think, like she likes Samus. That's fine. I think someone like fangirling over Samus is fine. These two characters are fine. I don't like the mission that they're in simply because these guys get downed like so often, and then you are basically in like platform areas where if you jump off and try to breathe and get breathing room, they're guaranteed to fall. I don't know what happens if they lose all their HP. I imagine you would die and just restart and womp womp. Um, they're like fine characters enough. They just have no super substance to them. I feel like if you want um a feeling of isolation, you would have to make this game twice as long. And that's a weird statement to say because Metroidvanias have to be short. They have to be speed runnable. You have to make it where it's able to be beat in a certain amount of time. But if you're focusing on this narrative driven by giving each of these characters their personalities, their islands, their information, you would have to do something along with that. This guy, I actually don't. I don't mind him at all, but I have no thoughts because he's just a giant mech, and I try to give him a personality, but they literally say he's a golem. that works, like with some sort of sophisticated AI that probably makes them close to a sentient esque being, but I really don't care enough because it's just a robot. I'm like, you could replace that. It's whatever. Um, like, yeah, these are all humans. They want to get home or whatever. You could literally just rebuild this thing again, and that's fine. Like, uh, but this fucker, this guy, I do not know who wrote their their OC, their original character into this story. There's like, I feel like this is so weird, right? I think it was cool on the world map, the first, or they do this like 4 times, I think, which is like, okay, if each character had a, or you found them on the world map, or you found them and you talk to them, you get developed, and then you get items as well for getting involved with the characters, unlocking stuff. He's the only character that does that. So it feels like they're really pinpointing towards this character and Samus for some reason. Like maybe like some sort of respect or maybe possible romantic interest. It just felt unnatural. I don't know what Samus Aran to me as a character is, who she is. But I can tell you the fact that she is someone who I could see her doing this, sitting down and listening to people's stories and respecting their time. I can understand feeling that isolation as he's currently feeling it and lending an ear because she didn't receive that. This is a completely logical jump in her character. And I would be completely fine if each character got this moment. But the fact of the matter is, it was only this character that got it. I don't mind. We should have seen something more with Mackenzie where he's like stressing out about his stuff. There, things could have been progressed in a little bit more linear way where like the reason why you have to go back to him for this stuff is he really wants to work on a test and like maybe help him like relieve some of the stress. Like he's worried about that isolation. He doesn't know what to do, and giving him the tech lets that distraction. You could have done stuff for yeah, and I took like a few screenshots because it felt like you were really just trying to bond with this specific character when like any of these characters, except for him, because that's just a robot. Like I feel like if you gave one bonus item each, or two bonus item each to each of these characters, where you had to have talk to them 2 times and have more about their character. The only character I know a lot about is this guy. I know he has a family and she's just kind of like a young buck, but like you should have had more interactions if you're going to put these characters into the story and force them along the missions. Maybe talk a little bit more. If you're going to delve in the story mode, go all in. But I can understand that this girl, Samus Aran, is the poster child to a Metroidvania. It's not impossible to stick to the fucking story mode. Look at fucking Hollow Knight, where they will have you interact with characters more forcibly, but you can still speed through the game quite quickly if you know what you're doing. But the fact is, some of these missions force you to slow down to make sure this character can do stuff. Like, there's a mission where you actively have to make sure some of these characters can pass so they can help you progress, which forces that slowdown without like conversating. Now they feel less like people in the world or more just like a character I have to help along. And that's a problem. I feel like if you really wanted to do it better, you give this game maybe just a little bit slower. Also, I have a big problem with this guy. This guy basically showed up in that one Metroid side game, and he's like basically a Federation Force soldier that kind of just fucking hates Samus. I think this is funny. I love a villain that just hates for the love of the game, right? Like, and honestly, that's great. But it's his first time appearing in the main Prime series, and unless you're a huge Metroid fan, you really don't know. I have enough rough knowledge to know kinda where this guy is, but the fact that he basically takes a Metroid, pops off, and then just leaves, and then there's kind of some Metroid fusions, but there's no real super explanations. There's no real internal lore. You get one interaction with this character at the end of the game. Like, nothing is fully done. You don't even know how he got where he was because there's like almost impossibly it's impossible to get there. Literally nothing about this character makes sense at all. I had to lower this game from like 8 out of 10 because I had a lot of issues with it, but they were just enough for me to be like, "Oh, this is noticeable." But this guy lowered it by point 0.5 because I'm like, "What the fuck is he doing here? How did he get to this specific location because he doesn't have any of the abilities that he's shown?" Um and he shows up as a boss twice. He doesn't talk to Samus. He doesn't do anything. And I, okay, and this is gonna be a weird nothing burger. I have problems with Samus actually in this game. I feel she could have stayed in the silent protagonist this whole game. That's fine. I feel like we should have just seen her emote a little bit, wave her hand a little bit, give a thumbs up, more of a like just like hand signs. Doesn't have to be much. Doesn't have to be anything at all. But just a little bit more could have went a miles away. Because when you're just like when someone's like yapping to her and she just kind of stands there. Do I have a picture? No, I don't. When someone's yapping to Samus Aran and she just looks like this, like it feels like they're talking to her, not with her. But if she gave like how do you feel, Samus, and like maybe a thumbs up or just like a wee little wave thing or like or like a follow me, like symbols that proves that she's like listening and interacting with these characters, maybe care a little bit more. um and also I have a problem with the ending of the game. So okay, we're going to talk about major spoilers. This is a full review already, spoilers, but this is major spoilers. I don't know how long I'm going to talk about this. I'm not going to edit it, so for the rest of the video, there's major spoilers. All the guys, all these people you get together essentially sacrifice themselves for you to make sure you can get home. And I think the coolest thing about after you get home, you get to, because for most of the game you look like that. And once you fill all this green energy, there's a little bit into a tree, you can get this fruit that makes you get into that the memory fruit. With you get the legacy suit, and then you can go back to your planet and you plant it. It's pretty cool. I like the symbolism because of all that shit. But I don't like the fact that they sacrifice themselves. My mindset is you are Samus Aran. No matter the scenario, you've been able to get yourself out of it. You've been able to survive. You are an intergalactic bounty hunter whose survivability and like basically has 100% mission success rate. I feel like it's more in Samus's character to be fine with that isolation. I feel like I know she's the only one who could have activated the teleporter. I know this. And it's okay and it's fine. Samus gets surprise attack all the time and then loses all her shit, whatever. But straight up, I feel like it would have been more in Samus's character to sacrifice herself. Or like to let Silex bring her to a new planet and then you do the next Prime game from that planet. And I think that's fine. Like if you have the memory fruit, she just yeets it to fucking I don't know, yeets it to like one of these guys. Maybe whoever you did the most side quests with, or just if you did all their quests, it's just someone at random, or it's just Mackenzie, like, or it's fucking this guy because they weirdly focused on him a lot. Like, you eat the fruit and then you eat them, and then you see them planted, and then you see Samus and Silex just fucking duking it out because he's insane, and then you land on a new planet, and Silex is somewhere wherever the fuck. And then you have the new Prime game. You have a way to go into it. But the issue is it does like none of that. And I think the biggest problem as well is by being Metroid Prime 4, I know none of the three other Metroid Primes really drag into each other, but this one feels very separated. So I feel like they could have just. I know it's named Prime because of the gameplay, and it does loosely tie into the other Prime games, but they really. I feel like it's kind of a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 7 kind of thing, where it was called Steel Ball Run and then later got named JoJo's. Like, it kind of feels like that kind of energy. I don't know how to explain it other than that. Like, I feel like it got the Prime name later, um, because of the gameplay. Like, they felt like they had to implement it, where this could have just been called something, you know, Metroid blank, fucking Beyond. Metroid Beyond, and like that's just could have been it. It could have been a new series that separated itself from the Prime trilogy, letting people feel more comfortable coming into this. Because it's the fourth game of the series, and the only way in the only game in the Prime series you can play is, I think, yeah, it's only one. You can only play Metroid Prime Remastered, which when you only have the one in the fourth game, people feel like they're missing out on like two other games. And when most people say, "Oh, you don't have to play any of them to basically enjoy Metroid Prime 4," I feel like you do it kind of a disservice to this game as a whole. There's problems, there's elements. I feel like it really, despite being like 10 years in the making, and I do like the gameplay, I like the exploration, I like the items, I like the interactions, I like the lore, I like everything about it. But the two big problems are these guys and the fucking main villain, who you don't interact with almost the entire game, and he doesn't even interact with you, and that's a glaring issue. If you made this game twice as long, and you literally build it up, you make things work, you make it explained how he's doing it, what's he doing, why he's doing things, you get things more. You get the characters figuring out, making their own exploration. So when you go back to areas, when you unlock a new ability, you see this guy or this girl or Mackenzie or this guy or this guy exploring that area as well, and then they are talking about the things they found. Maybe you help them around or something. You do side missions. You do replayability. You make the game twice as long, but you still enable the Metroid shortness, where all of the other half for the lore nerds can be played, but it doesn't have to be done for the final boss. Also, the final boss felt kind of like his first phase felt like bullshit, and the second phase felt very easy. I don't know how to explain it like that. Everybody here gets into the final boss first phase, and you're the only one that can heal everyone else, and that you can't. No one heals you. If you die, you're just kind of cooked. And the second phase was like stupid easy. Like, I don't know. It sucks they stole the second phase steals your energy tanks, but it's like and you're like, despite all these glaring issues, how can you rate it a 7 out of 10 or a 7.5 out of 10? Straight up, I always rate games. Is the gameplay good? Addicting is something I can get myself lost in, and that immediately goes into like, if it is, that it brings up to a 5. Base games, and if the only thing is gameplay wise, then it's a 10, right? Balacho, no story, but that's a 10 out of 10. But if it does have story elements and stuff, everything else is from there is based off of like there. How do I like the lore? The lore, really good. The interaction with, and you know what the funniest thing was? Um, hold up, hold on. I'm really just shooting this video off the fucking cuff. These guys, I found these guys way more interesting than the actual guys you had. These guys, there's one. You interact with one in particular. I found that so much more interesting. These people who are dead interact with you way more than even the side characters. Well, not fully true. These guys do interact with you more, but it feels like the connection I got from the alien species was way more personal than the people who literally living and stuck on the planet with me. You know what I mean? And even the fucking final villain, I had less interactions with. And I wouldn't mind if he just showed up and said, "Fuck you, Samus, and I don't like you, I'm gonna kill you." And that was it. That was his whole motivation, and it really kind of is. And I don't mind a villain like that. That's really funny, but it felt like there was a great, and it sucks to say, there felt like there was maybe something a little bit more, and they just kind of missed the judgment with that one. I think would have been better as a final villain is personally in this game. You don't need this guy. I don't. You don't need this guy at all. You don't need the. You could have had him do the whole thing with the Metroid things and just brought him a completely different game. Because the Metroids don't even show up at all in this game. Like, period. Full stop. You could have, because they said, hey, we had 13 of us. I was the last one here. 12 other guys said, you could have had him corrupted by the green energy because maybe the force field like waned over time, or there was like something that went wrong, or like whatever the fuck, and like you just fight a weird corrupted version of him, and like when you defeat him, straight up you see that final remnants and like saying hey, and then uses the teleporter to help you all get away. I really think it would have been beautiful on that marker, but they didn't do that. They didn't do that at all. Like I might go full 7, Jesus, but they didn't do that at all. The thing is, I think Silex is a potentially interesting villain who is hunting Samus, the hunter who hunts, you know, a hunter, and I think that's cool. But everything they did for this game points to kind of he was a secondary addition. I feel like they tried to tie him in a little too quickly. Um, I do think he can only be in the Prime games, so I feel like at the end of the game, if you teleport away, Samus goes, and then his ship follows Samus. Like his ship immediately books towards it. And I know that's kind of what happens in one of the Metroid games, if I remember correctly, I think it. But I think you could have just retconned that a little bit and then made it after this game. Straight up. Like this is a reintroduction of the Prime series, and then this guy could have followed. Like you could have just followed up. And I think that would have been way better as a thanks. And then it could have just been like he hunts you down, strikes you, and then he's a constant threat on the planet. He's like constantly trying to hunt you. He's fucking with the people that are trying to help you or whatever, or the planet, and making it super hostile towards you. But we didn't get any of that. We got like a semi, we got a really good story with the planet and the world and everything else. Like everything around that may be interesting, but the people that were there and the villain that's there makes me not like that. And that is not liking the characters is a minus point. And not liking the and not feeling connected to the characters is another minus point. And the final villain just being kind of like cool in concept but not executed well is like half a point for me. So that's everything else cooked decently well for me, where I'm like 7.5. If I'm being harsh enough, 7. That's my thoughts on Metroid Prime 4. I really think making it. I keep doing that because I'm not used to doing this. I think making it only 14 hours long is a very miss scenario as well. I think if it was double and this is me taking my time with this game. Like I was doing things and not having. I think the biggest thing about Metroidvanias is they have replayability, so you can be faster and maybe play hard mode and stuff. And I might do that. Don't know yet. Also, one more thing. There is this green energy, as I said, and they give you something on the radar, the map. I don't know if I took any pictures of the open world. God damn it. Sorry. This shit. Okay. So you get this green energy stuff, and then eventually appears on your and this is a perfect example, actually. I was just exploring around trying to figure out how to blow this up before I have the ability to blow this up, and he starts talking to me about like, what if you do this? Kind of like that. That's not cool. Actually, no, I think I do have the ability to blow this up now, but like that's not cool. That's not fun. That's not interesting. And there's this big map. That map. I'm gonna point it. This big map and small map. The small map radar picks up green energy juice so you can break it and bring it back to the tree so you can get the white suit. But it's not on the big map, and even the map you opened up personally. I think that's a mistake. Once you get to a certain percentage, they should have been on the big map and the small map. That's how it should have been done, in my opinion. Mackenzie shouldn't be calling you every 30 minutes, and I shouldn't have to bring all this stuff back unless there's a deeper lore reason other than the fact that you just kind of have to just cuz. If it was more for Samus feeling like she didn't want him to feel in isolation, and maybe Mackenzie kind of, I hate to say what's phoning it in a little bit, or like stressing how much he feels alone in the isolation and really wish he had something to tinker with because that's how he feels safe. And Sam is finding that technology, and then like about to put in our suit, but then like remembers Mackenzie saying that he felt that isolation and had something to work on, decides to bring it back to him. I think just 2 beats would have changed that completely for me. Um, would have changed me liking Mackenzie way more. Would have changed Sam as a character way more. Would have changed how she could interact with each of these characters way more. Putting her, putting her journey a little on a backtrack to make sure these people don't feel isolated and lost on a planet. In that way, when the sacrifice moment comes at last, I think that hits like harder. And the fact, even better, she could have just chose not to do it. I mean, technically no, but I feel like she wouldn't choose to do it, you know. But it was saving a whole planet's worth of knowledge for the exchange of 4.5 people. You know, I don't know. There's a lot. Um, I do think the themes are cool and everything about Planet Virus was really cool. I like the environment, the story, and like the world story, but the minor character story, and yes, I'm calling the minor characters, really lacked that choice. I feel like either they should have gone more in with these, or you completely removed them. And if they went more in with them, this game would have been a 9 out of 10. I think solidly. 9.5. And honestly, if they gave more reasoning for him, I think this could have been a 10 out of 10. Those two things are big. Should have really done more. Could have done more. I really could see him doing more, but they didn't. I totally do see him coming back, and it's going to be really funny when he does.